And we have finally arrived to the most exciting, from my point of view, part of creating a website. So we're going to talk about the CSS, how to present the data. We've talked about how to write data, create lists, tables, and insert images, and use the headings and the P tags. So this is a time to decide how these elements are going to be presented on screen. So let's go to CSS. This is CSS tutorial. Again, it's really complete and very simple to understand. You can finish it in just 30 minutes to 1 hour, the whole thing. So this is what happens. So in CSS, you've got you declare the tag that you want to modify. So let's see, h1. So you say that I want to do something to h1 elements, to all h1 elements. What do I want to do? What do I want to do is, well, I use the symbols, the curly braces or whatever, after the tag, and then I've got the pair of values. So I've got the attribute and the value. So say color, so the color of the text is going to be orange. And then each time I go to another line, I have to use the semicolon. If not, everything from here until the curly braces is going to be ignored. So the browser is going to think that this is the only one, the only command. So every time you have to use the semicolons, but only inside this, inside the curly braces. So even when you've got only one command, like here, put the semicolon type it, because if minutes later or if in the future you want to add a command, this way you do not forget to. It's not going to be any problem because the semicolon is going to be there, so no commands are going to be ignored. So this is as simple as this. So what I need to do is, so we've got property, so we've got selector, it's called selectors, and then you've got the declaration, the whole thing. You've got the property and the value, property and value. So again, it's something like this. So as it is indicated that this is the same thing as this, which is true, but this is more readable. So when you write your code and then you have to revise it, it's much more interesting and practical to use this format than this one. So first of all, let's go back to here, default, and then go to CSS. So you've got three ways to use CSS in a document. First of all, you can use an external style sheet. So we saw with the images how the difference between the relative and absolute addresses, URLs or whatever, locations. So go to that tutorial to understand the differences and how to locate a document. So you just take this one, external style sheet, and you put it in your head, in the head section. I'm going to start like this. So that means this is a relative location, which means that in the same folder as my index.html file, I've got a file called style.css, and these are the CSS files are just plain text files, so you can very simply work with your notepad. So it's something like nope, one of these ones, a website, yeah. So that means we're here, so in the same folder you've got to have plain text and have something like this. and let's write something. There's the fetish of all engineers, computer engineers, programmers, this phrase, hello world. So I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to open it with my browser. So I haven't defined any formatting for the P elements, so the browser has a style sheet by default. So unless I specify something format wise, it's gonna use its own commands. So now I can precise what I want to do with it. So let's take this, and okay, so I'm gonna say P, the selector, and then curly braces. The break lines and the line breaks and the spaces don't matter. This is how I prefer doing it. So selector, space, and then I've got the curly brace, and then I write for color. No, say 2 spaces. They don't matter, but this is a way to do it. Find your own way to do it if you don't like mine. So color, always colon, and then have to use quotes, and I write red. Don't forget this, and then I'm going to close it. Suppose I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't need the. I think quotes. Yeah, I'm going to explain about the quotes or not. In XHTML, all values of attributes have to be included in quotes. This is not the case with CSS, so I'm going to see if it's. Yeah, so I'm not supposed to. Okay. That is why, if you can see here what happens, you can see the formatting from a Notepad++. It gives me, well, it's not an error, but it says something is going on because the coloring of the word, of the value, is not really that good. So there you go. So now it understands what I'm talking about. So I'm going here, refresh, and here you go. Simple as that. So for CSS, we don't use quotes unless the value is more than one line, one word, sorry, because if you've got, let's say here, the font, so you've got font family, there you go. I'm going to use this example. Let's take this one. Okay, so what happens is that I'm saying that the font family is going to be Times, or if the computer does not have this font family, it's going to use a serif. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to see what happens. Well, this is Times, so we don't see anything. So the problem is that if I have this, okay, Times New Roman, I cannot not use quotes, because as soon as I have space here, it's going to think that we are done with this pair of values, with this with the property in the value. So you have to say it, wait a bit, here is not the end of the value for this property, you have to go on. Well, we don't see the result because I'm going to use something else. There you go. Okay, so this is a simple, very simple example, and then you've got other ways to use so syntax. So one way is to use the external. Let's find it here somewhere. Okay, it's here. So external style sheet. That is especially when you have different files and they all use the same style sheet. So each time you want to modify the appearance of your whole website, you just modify the CSS file, and you don't have to modify each HTML file. You've got another way to do it, is internally. So instead of writing this, and let's forget about this, I can just there you go, got the style. So in the head, always in the header section, I'm going to write exactly the same thing as I would write in the CSS file. So you need the style tag with this attribute and value, and within you write this. So let's go there, and so it's the same thing, as you see, it's equivalent. So the problem is that if you do this for every, you've got 10 HTML files, and in each one you write this, you copy paste this, and then 1 month later you say, oh well, maybe red is not the right way, so I want to do blue. That means that you have to open all 10 files and do the same thing, blue. So 10 times, and imagine when you've got bigger websites, a bigger website with more than 10 HTML documents, which is almost always the case. My website, my personal website, is a very basic website, and I've got about 30 HTML files. So having an external style sheet is the way to do it. And the other way, so you've got external style sheet, and then you've got the internal sheet, and then you've got the inline styles. So for example, I could use style color blah blah blah, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but this time they're going to be attributes to the tag itself. And P, and then you write style equals, there you go. So we've got style, the tag, the attribute for the tag P equals, this is an XHTML document, so you are supposed to use quotes for the whole value, and then within you paste the CSS code. So there you go. Of course, this is interesting when you only have, in a whole document, you only want to format a specific tag, because you cannot do this for all P elements in a document. That's not practical. So sometimes you need something really on the spot, very precise. So it's the right way to do it. Although you can use other tags like a span that we're going to see later. So these are the basics of the CSS syntax.